Agriculture is responsible for feeding the growing world and for supporting the livelihoods of more than 1 billion people. As supply chain challenges persist and input costs continue to increase, farmers are becoming concerned with how to keep up with the ever-evolving industry.
Because of the nature of our business, where we are using a very large volume of inputs, we're generally operating on pretty thin margins. So when you take costs that are increasing as much as 30-40% year over year, those margins become much, much thinner. It demands perfection out of us, and in the back of our minds at all times, we know that no matter what we're doing with our crop, everything can be looking fantastic, but Mother Nature bats last. The challenge that we're facing this year, and that all farmers are facing really every year, how can we produce more with less inputs without sacrificing quality?
Responsible for 1/3 of global production, the United States is the leading producer of strawberries, with 90% coming from California alone.
Producing strawberries is actually a very intense process, and it begins here at the Strawberry Nursery. First, we begin in our tissue culture lab where we produce meristem plants. That process in and of itself takes about a year. After we establish those meristem plants, we move them to our outdoor foundation. Strawberry plants will throw off stolons, and at the tip of them is a daughter plant. That plant will produce a genetically identical plant to the mother plant. After we harvest those daughters and we've gone through the process of making sure that that plant is clean, we bring that plant material to our commercial fields and we plant those. And those daughters are what is going to produce our rootstock that is then harvested, packed in our trim sheds, and shipped off to our growers.
I think it's really important to recognize the amount of time and effort that is sacrificed here at the ranch. It's tough, backbreaking work. You know, you go out in your yard and you work for one day and you're exhausted. Our employees do that every single day for 9 months straight. And I think if people knew and understood just how many people are involved with getting that strawberry to the end user, they would appreciate a lot more.
As volatility continues throughout the industry, farmers and ranchers are in search of new ways to mitigate rising input costs and keep operations running.
So here at Cedar Point Nursery, some of the biggest technology we have used here at our farm is drip tape. And we couple it with our tunneling system. By allowing us to have that control, we can monitor the amount of water accurately. We also don't use as much pesticides. And by doing that too, we're allowing our agricultural runoff to decrease. When we use the drip tape, we also limit the amount of water that contacts the plants. We reduce the amount of disease that can develop. Compared to the traditional sprinkler irrigation method, we are conserving water and reducing that risk.
As new developments continue to move the industry forward, innovations in farming technology are helping to reduce large amounts of risk carried by nurseries and fruit producers.
Mike was our founder and our owner. Unfortunately, he passed away last year, but the moment you met Mike and saw him in his element, you could tell how passionate he was. He worked hard. He put his hands in the dirt along with everyone else. He could do every job that we have at the farm.
Mike Fauner was a co-founder of Cedar Point Nursery and owner. He invented the tunnel and drip installation at the nursery level. People will keep on using this because it prevents several diseases or bacteria on the strawberry plants. Here at Cedar Point Nursery, we try to give our growers the best product that we can.
From implementing drip irrigation as a means to reduce disease and yield loss, to inventing the first fully vented microtunnel system, Cedar Point Nursery pioneered many of the practices used by nurseries today.
The coupling of the tunnels was huge here in the strawberry nursery business because south from our nursery, they get winds that are up to 40 miles an hour. It'll act like a knife and it'll cut right through the plants. And with a tunnel and drip and wire installations, we prevented that.
This year we're introducing a few sustainable or regenerative farming practices to our farm. We are going to be building a solar system on the ranch. Not only will that lower our utility bill, but we'll be carbon neutral in that aspect as well. We are reintroducing beneficial mites into our fields. They're predators and they prey on common strawberry pests. So by using this form of biocontrol, we can reduce, if not eliminate, the use of chemicals and pesticides in our field. Third sustainability effort that we're employing on the farm this year is after we harvest our strawberry plants, we come in and plant a grain or a wheat behind it so that instead of that ground being fallow, it has a living plant in it, which mimics a more natural ecosystem.
Farming on an average of 300 acres per year, the nursery produces about 75 million high-quality strawberry plants each year and supplies them to growers throughout California, Florida, Canada, and Mexico.
We first start with ensuring that we have clean plant material. This plant material is purchased from the University of California, where it's been vigorously tested. We have our tissue culture lab, where we are able to produce our meristem plants and use those to plant our fields. We can ensure that we're producing a healthy plant that we can distribute to strawberry growers.
As a catalyst for change within the strawberry business, the nursery remains dedicated to creating innovative practices that will continue to deliver the highest quality plants possible.
Currently working on some research trials with UC Davis and University of Florida. Both of them are major strawberry breeding programs in the United States. We grow trial varieties that aren't commercially available here in our farm. Without our participation, the growth of the industry would be stunted. With the University of Florida, the goal of our research trial is to identify what is the optimum level of chill for each variety. There's very little data or research that supports it, so we aim to solve that. I believe the only way that our industry can move forward is if we continue to advance and innovate. And CPN has been responsible in the past for several landmark contributions to the strawberry industry. In my opinion, the sky is the limit.